It was October 2005. I had been ordered to take a cargo to Hermosillo, Sonora. The trip was quite quiet. Nothing unusual. The problem was the time to return. For logistical reasons, they assigned me a new load, so that on my return I would have to make a scale in Los Mochis, Sinaloa. Already there, they would assign me a new load and I would have to deliver it to Guadalajara. I was coming down the road that connects Navajoa with Los Mochis. It was around 11 at night. I was already inside the territory that corresponds to Sinaloa. I had just left behind a small town known as El Carrizo. It was pretty cold outside, so I was walking around with the windows closed. Everything was very dark. In fact, there is not even a public light in that section. For a long time, I had not crossed with other vehicles. I felt even more alone, because in the surroundings there was no trace of urbanization. I was in the middle of nowhere. The only thing that kept me company was the radio and the high lights of my trailer. That feeling of loneliness faded when I noticed that about 100 meters away, a young woman was running next to the road, just in the same direction I was going. When I finally could light it, it turned immediately towards me. His age was between 17 and 20 years old. He looked very agitated. He looked in all directions, hugging himself, possibly covering himself with the cold. Immediately I thought he might need help. Maybe something bad had happened to him. Was that it, or was it a trap to be assaulted? That usually happens very often on the roads. I was about to go over, thinking that my own safety was more important. However, I immediately remembered my daughter. They both had a similar age and complexion. I got into the situation of the girl's parents, and I would be very grateful if someone with a good heart helped her in such a situation, wishing that everything would go well. I slowed down a bit, and honestly, I took the gun I carry with me on every trip. I put it on my legs, hoping not to have to use it to defend myself. I could tell that the girl was shy. I stopped the trailer next to her, without turning it off. Then she approached cautiously. "Excuse me, good evening." "Good evening. Do you know if there is a long way to get to the Mochis?" "Are you going to the Mochis?" "Yes, I'm going in the right direction, right?" "Oh girl, yes, well. But you still have a lot to do. What are you doing here alone?" "It's just that. Well, I was at a party, but there were some problems." After taking a look around, I came to the conclusion that she was really going alone, so I decided to keep my gun. I didn't want to scare her. "Hey, girl. Look, I'm going to the Mochis. If you want, I'll take you. Don't worry. I don't have bad intentions. Besides, you're going to freeze out there." She gave a quick look at the trailer. I realized that she didn't think about it much and decided to approach. The poor thing was really scared. "My name is Alberto." "What's your name?" "Jacqueline." "My name is Jacqueline and thank you very much." "No, you're welcome. Don't worry. And well, Jacqueline, let's go. You'll see that we'll arrive very quickly. In about 40 minutes or maybe less." I was quite intrigued to know why I was walking at that time. Alone. In the middle of nowhere. "Hey, what happened at the party you were at? Did they do something wrong?" She hesitated to answer me, but in the end she did. "It's just that. Well, I came to a party with some friends, here in a little town called El Carrizo. It's just that they all got very drunk. And then they started fighting with other boys. And then I better left." "And did they realize that you came?" "Yes, in fact they wanted to take me back to my house. But as I say, they were very drunk and I did not want to get in the car with them." "Well, look, for more sure I'll take you home. I don't think it's much what I should deviate from. It's too late for you to be alone. We were just talking for a few minutes." But I think they were enough to inspire her confidence, because she didn't hesitate to give me her home. As I thought, I wasn't far from the place where I should hand over my burden. Nutetsky was touching his stomach with one hand. I assumed he was hungry. There wasn't much left to get to a gas station located on the outskirts of a town called Chihuahua. Hey, do you think I'll go down for something to eat, Alakso? Go ahead. When I was descending from the trailer, he asked me, Sir, can I go to the bathroom? Yes, of course, go. I'll go in the meantime and enter the box. What do you want to eat? No, don't bother. Well, I'll bring you something. I won't take long. But if you leave before I get on the trailer and you wait for me there, okay? Thanks. When I came back with a little food, I realized that Jacqueline was still not here. Which worried me, since I had spent a reasonable time going to the bathroom. I saw that there was a gas station employee near the gas station and I approached him. Young man, good evening. Excuse me, have you seen a girl in a purple dress leaving the bathrooms? She's about 18 years old. She left the bathroom a while ago. She was going to get on the trailer, but a silver car parked next to her. There were several boys. In fact, I think they were friends of hers, because they greeted each other and everything. After a while, the girl went up with them and they left. So she went with them? Yes. In fact, she turned here to Oxo, like looking for something. Then she went up. Do you know what direction they took? Where did they go? They took the road to Los Mochis. Thank you very much, young man. Have a good night. You're welcome. Good night. I thought it would be about his friends, although I didn't like the idea that they were in a state of ebriety, as Jacqueline had told me. I knew what I had bought and I set off. I kept driving towards the Mochis. The road was still dark and lonely. I couldn't stop thinking about the security of that girl. After talking to her, I realized that she was a very nice person. I didn't want anything bad to happen to her. It took about 40 minutes and I finally reached my destination, as I had been told. I thought of going to the rest area and doze a little, but instead I decided to clear my doubts. I poured myself a very strong coffee and went out to take a taxi. I requested to be taken to the address that Jacqueline had given me. When I finally saw her house, I thought of leaving. After all, it was almost 1 in the morning. But well, I thought that in her house they would see that I was worried about her. So maybe there wouldn't be much of a problem. I knocked on the door, and after a few moments, a man of about 50 years looked out the window. Yes? What do you need? Excuse me, sir. My name is Alberto and I am a tailor. You see, a few hours ago I found Jacqueline on the road. She told me that she lived here. I realized that a slight mole was drawn on her face. Come in, please. No, look, what happens is that I just want to know if she got there in time. Turns out I offered to bring her to your house, but... Yes, I understand, but really, come on, it'll only be a moment. Quite consternated, I went to his house. Excuse me, my name is Alfonso. I am Jacqueline's father. Oh, much pleasure, sir. Look, I don't know how to tell you. At that moment, Mr. Alfonso pointed to a photograph that was hanging on the wall. We're talking about the same girl, right? Yes, sir, it's her. She's the girl I picked up on the road. She already arrived. At that moment, I felt like I was about to enter an uncomfortable conversation. It sounded like the classic horror story, where a taxi driver takes a woman to his house and they go out with her already dead. I felt exactly like that. I started to smile nervously, fearing what he was about to tell me. First, Mr. Alberto, I want to thank you for worrying about my daughter. I am sorry for the inconvenience. If I tell you this is because it really pleases me to know that there are good-hearted people and that somehow my daughter came across you on your way. Look, my daughter Jacqueline, the girl in the purple dress that you picked up on the road. She's already passed away. Even though I was already expecting that, it made a big impression on me. So much so that my stomach even stung. What? How is she already dead? That's how you hear it. Come here. I know you won't believe it, so you have to see this. Mr. Alfonso took me to the place where he had a little table. In it was another photograph of Jacqueline and a few veils. She died 3 years ago in an accident on the road. That day he went to a party with some friends here in a town called El Carrizo. They were all in a state of ebriety, and the car turned. No one survived. Sir, I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you. Oh, my friend, there's nothing to say. Thank you very much for worrying about her. No, it's not. But please don't pick her up again if I see her again. You ran very well, you know. I've learned that she causes accidents. A few people have picked her up, but in a short time she suffered a similar accident on the road. As far as I know, 4 people have died. The others have been injured. All of them have come here later, assuring that Jacqueline was going with them, but that by the time the emergency services arrived, she was nowhere to be found. I literally ran out of words. I didn't know what to answer. Can I ask you something? Yes, tell me. My daughter. How was she? I was scared at first, but then I looked at her calmly, so as not to make this story any longer. In short, I told her how everything was. He didn't stop thanking me as he walked to the door. Once again, he emphasized that I never pick her up again if I found her on the road again. He only asked me for a favor. He told me to please pray for Jacqueline's soul, to see if she could rest in peace. I agreed, and I left wishing her good night. For my part, I returned to the base and realized that my cargo was ready. I finally left for Guadalajara. I must mention that I have passed that road several times, and I have never met the spirit of Jacqueline again. Who knows, maybe she managed to find her light.